The 997.2 came equipped with different shock strut options. Our project car had the PASM struts. Due to the design and wiring coming out of the top of the shock, you cannot install camber plates or monoballs. If you want to upgrade to this system, you will need to change from the factory PASM strut. To begin, you're going to safely raise and support the vehicle along with remove the front under tray. Please follow the link provided at the end of this video for additional assistance with that task. While people will tell you that you do not need to remove the tie rod to wheel carrier, you're going to be dropping the carrier a fair amount for the strut to clear the fender, and I do not like putting the extra stress on the steering rack. Use an 18mm wrench and remove the nut on the top of the ball joint, red arrow. The ball joint spins. While attempting this, you can put some pressure on the lower portion of the ball joint to stop it from spinning. Use care so as not to lift the vehicle off the jack stand while doing this. You can also insert a T30 torque into the top of the ball joint to stop it from spinning, blue arrow. Use a ball joint spreader and separate the ball joint from the wheel carrier. A 16mm nut on the sway bar drop link holds the strut to the wheel carrier, red arrow. Loosen but do not remove this yet. Support the wheel carrier with your floor jack. Open the hood and remove the panels around the top shock mount. If you need assistance with that task, please follow the link provided at the end of this video. If you have the PASM struts, you will need to very carefully remove the wiring from its harness, blue arrow, and separate the wiring connection. There is a tiny tab on the shock end, red arrow. You need to carefully lift the retainer on the wiring end over this tab and pull them apart. You are going to want to get your alignment reset once you do this. The camber is set on the front end by the top mount. Mark the position of these mounting nuts in relation to the chassis to get it back close when you reinstall them. Red arrows. Use a 13mm socket and remove the 3 nuts. Make sure the wheel carrier is supported from below. Do not try and force the control arm and strut down. Use a 16mm blue arrow and 18mm wrench, red arrow, and loosen but do not remove the lower control arm to subframe connection. This will allow everything to drop and not affect the alignment. Now remove the drop link nut and slide the drop link out of the wheel carrier, red arrow. Slowly lower the jack. Carefully feed the wiring for the PASM out from the top as you lower it. This will give you plenty of room to safely clear the fender. You can now slide the strut from the wheel carrier. With the PASM strut on the bench, you can see the 2 perches, blue arrows, and the spring, red arrow. Never attempt to remove the top perch without first compressing the spring. We use the Schwaben spring compressor. I can safely grab and hold the spring from one side and gives you plenty of room to work. Due to the design of the wiring for the PASM system, you cannot counterhold the strut with a torque from the top, red arrow. Use a large set of channel locks or other pliers to grasp the top washer and loosen the 21mm nut. With the top nut and washer removed, you can see the top hat or perch, red arrow, the bump stop, blue arrow, and the boot, green arrow. They slide right off. These components are common fail items. The shock bearing plate, red arrows, need to rotate cleanly to allow the strut assembly to move when you turn the wheel. Inspect and replace as needed. Installation is the reverse of removal. Make sure the springs sit correctly in their rests on the top and bottom perches before you uncompress them. Torque the 13mm nuts to 33 Nm or 24 foot-pounds and the drop link mount to 75 Nm or 56 foot-pounds. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and check out another video in this series.